Testing, testing.
Hi, Joe. Can you hear everything okay?
Yeah. Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, Joe, I can hear you.
Perfect.
And I can see you. Perfect. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we have another 6 minutes. There's a couple of attendees at the moment. Guys, if you're listening, we will start in about 6 minutes. We're just going to wait for more people to join, and then we'll begin the presentation. So, Joe, you can see my my
Yes.
SolidCAD Fusiontek slide up there at the moment.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, it's the 1 o'clock there now. I think we can begin, if that's okay with you, Joe.
Yeah, that's that is great with me.
Perfect. So I suppose I'll let you run into the introduction. I'll just run into, I've 3 slides here that I just want to talk about. So obviously this one took me all of 2 minutes to put together. But you can see the SolidCAD and Fusiontek logo is there. Obviously it's myself and Joe are going to be the presenters today. There's our beautiful faces up on the screen. And we are just going to have basically 3 very quick points that we will run through today. So the first one will obviously be the announcement about SolidCAD's acquisition of Fusiontek's Bluebeam business unit. Then we're going to I'm going to do a quick introduction of who SolidCAD is, and then I might just do a quick presentation, myself and Joe, on the new features of Revu 20. So I suppose to start off, Joe, if you want to just go on with the introduction, and I'll lead from you then.
Thank you, Thomas. We'd like to thank everyone attending this this webinar. First of all, to all of our clients and to all of our partners, we'd like to say thank you. We've served as a reseller for Bluebeam for probably about eight years now. But now we're joining a bigger team in a sense, although Fusiontek is not joining SolidCAD as such. But on the Bluebeam side, we've merged our business units, and we're going to be continuing to support Bluebeam customers through SolidCAD as needed. So in effect, we're joining a bigger team on the Bluebeam side, and we also have other software solutions that we have separate from this. Thank you for attending, Thomas. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for helping out our customers through this process.
It's my pleasure.
I think what we really agree on between the management of Fusiontek and SolidCAD is to take care of the customers during this transition, and to make sure the customers receive the best possible care. What do you say to that, Thomas?
Well, I agree. And I called a number of customers last week and before, and it was one of the biggest points that each one had to say was that Fusiontek had treated each customer very special, and they all felt like they were, they were losing you guys. So it's always a big transition for people when they're obviously switching from resellers and stuff like that. But I just want to kind of let everyone know that we will always try to be as good as Joe and Laura, because I just know from the feedback from everyone that you guys have done such a good job in regards to Bluebeam and everything else.
I appreciate hearing that, and we'll definitely work with you moving forward. So that was the basic main point that we want to make here. Now let's hear about, well, who is this SolidCAD? Can you tell us a little bit about what your company is, what you do, and how strong you are in the Bluebeam market?
Yes, I suppose I can jump right into it. Unfortunately, this might take longer than people want to know, but I suppose it started off in 1996. It was founded by Michael Coogan. I won't go through everything here, but they've merged a couple of times with other companies. In 1999, it was merged with CAD Group. Then it was actually merged with SolidCAD and Cancel Company. Became one in 2017. So that's why the whole company is now called SolidCAD, a Cancel Company. So we actually work together. One of the things that we try to say to everyone when they're actually joining SolidCAD is the fact that we do have a hand in the industry in a lot of different places. So obviously there's the architecture, engineering, construction, infrastructure, manufacturing, all that stuff that's there. We kind of have a hand in everything, but we make sure that we have specialists in each department. We make sure that obviously we want to be there for whatever a client needs. And obviously that comes down to kind of design, to manage, and to actually share what people are actually using. So whether this is Bluebeam, we sell. I'll go through all the partners that we work with, but I think Bluebeam is, if we just look at maybe these three examples here for design, managing, and sharing, Bluebeam is one of our favorite, and definitely one of my personal favorite softwares out there, because it kind of does all these three things in a very special way. So it gives you that ability to, to share, not just PDF information, but actually, it has all these markups. It has so many different functionalities that help you really get a job done correctly.
Yeah,
And when you use things like,
it's almost the glue between those three in some
yes,
ways.
yeah, because like when you look at the way the industry is now, it's come a long way from just pen and paper. You have a software that has become so much more than just a PDF viewer, and has become a part of people's workflow when they're on a project. Because you have things like you have add-ins for different software where you're actually able to create a 3D PDF, for instance. A PDF before was, you're just looking just like an electronic piece of paper in 2D. But the fact that you can use a PDF differently now is the way the construction industry and every other industry is going. They're moving towards that kind of a more acceptable way of viewing information. And whether that's for designing, for managing, and sharing this information with others, it's all become one step within Bluebeam. And that's why they're continuing to try and perfect that going forward with the program. You can kind of see here the Cancel owned companies. So SolidCAD is one of them. Obviously, I won't go into too much detail with all this stuff here. We will be recording this session just so if anyone ever needs to look over it. If anyone is struggling with my accent, by the way, I'm from Ireland. So maybe we'll put in subtitles at the end or something to help people understand what I'm saying. But you can see we do have a lot of different companies that we work with. The good thing about having such a big team like this is that we always have someone to turn to if there's an issue or if there's a question. And that's a kind of nice thing to have when you're part of a big team. You can see here a lot of our partner projects. Bluebeam is there in the center. SolidCAD is obviously one of the biggest Autodesk resellers in Canada. The biggest Autodesk resellers in Canada, but we have a lot more different partners that we work with. What we try to do is make sure that whatever software you're using, including Bluebeam obviously, but we want to make sure that the client is happy and that whatever their workflow or process is, we try and fit the software to that. And that's why Bluebeam works so well, because that tends to bring in all the best qualities from different softwares and use them together. Because at the end of the day, what you actually want to get out of any software is information to construct a building, or on how much it's going to cost to construct a building, anything like that. And that's why Bluebeam really helps with that. But as SolidCAD itself, we offer BIM consulting services, we offer training, obviously we offer a lot of different solutions, including like scanning, scan to BIM, data management and collaboration, and obviously we have a support portal as well. Our support portal is called Solid Assist. So if anyone does have any problems with Bluebeam or any other software that we obviously are a part of, we tell them, contact us. We'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. The good thing about Bluebeam is obviously you do have the ability, if you have maintenance, to contact Bluebeam directly. You still have that ability, but you also can come to SolidCAD now if you do have any other problems. So you basically have 2 points of information to go to, and we tend to try and get back to you as soon as possible. So maybe, we have, because we are so wide across Canada, we have people in Vancouver, in Alberta, in Calgary, Edmonton, all the way central Canada, in Toronto, Nova Scotia, you name it. I will show you the map shortly, but there we go. We have so many different offices across. There's always kind of someone to talk to. So whether it's in Toronto where you need to talk to someone at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's someone going to be there, or whether you're working late at 8 o'clock in the afternoon, at least you know that someone in Vancouver is still going to be working, because we're still awake we're still there at 5 p.m. So we tend to always be there if you have a question to ask, or if you're having a problem with the software. So don't be afraid to call us if you need us. That's what we're there for. At the end of the day, it's all about, if the client does well, we know that we're going to do well. So we want to kind of make sure the client is always happy. What you can see here, there's the big list of all the places that we have our offices. Actually, Vancouver is not there. Well, Burnaby is there in BC, so yeah, that's obviously close to Vancouver.
Vancouver's a
I'm
little
based
bit
in
high,
Vancouver
isn't
myself.
it?
Yeah.
So what happened?
I don't know. Yeah, 15 offices and 12 training facilities across Canada.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
impressive.
and obviously we do open enrollment training and custom training for everything. Obviously, if you do want to do Bluebeam training in particular, it'll probably be myself or one of our other specialists. I do have a big list of all the specialists that we actually do enroll here. I won't introduce you to all of them because that will take way too long, but I will. You can obviously see a big list of all the people that we have. Obviously, we're open to all students. We can predetermine the dates. And obviously for custom training, we try to customize it to what the client wants. So, if there's certain functionalities in Bluebeam that you don't think are useful, we'll try to make sure to cover the ones that you do think are useful. So we try to make it as customizable as possible. So here's a list of obviously everyone in the AEC sales team. There I am down in the bottom right-hand corner there. You can see we have a lot of people in Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, Nova Scotia, British Columbia. We're all there. That's just the sales team. The technical team, Ontario, British Columbia, Quebec, Alberta, New Brunswick. There's people all around. You can see that some of us specialize in different software. Now, this doesn't give a lot of the technical staff credit. I was just technical very previously, but we can only show like 3 softwares here. Most of them do have more than that in their piggy bank, but we tend to just kind of show what they're able to do the best. But obviously Bluebeam is, because it's such a popular program, a lot of people do want to use it. So even though it might not be myself doing the training, it might be somebody else, but that we have kind of experts there that are able to teach you the software. And again, the software development team, you see Ryan, Alan, Mustafa and Kate are there. And these are different associations and sponsorships that are a part of SolidCAD. You see, you kind of have like a Canvin. We're part of a lot of different associations. So it's always good. That's why we have kind of so many good contacts. It's why we kind of know where to go when we have certain questions about certain aspects of different softwares and what's happening in the future. So we kind of always know what's happening in the industry. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we say this. And obviously we do like process assessments for in SolidCAD. So if anyone needs to know exactly how we do certain things, or we need to find out how to work out certain technologies for companies or anything like that, we always make sure to do an assessment to know exactly what workflow will work best in a company. And that's usually when we say, okay, Bluebeam will obviously work for you guys, or if it's a different software, we might even push that. But obviously, we think that Bluebeam is always normally a step in the right direction, as it has those, you're able to design, manage, and collaborate using the Bluebeam technology. Where was I? So remote solutions. Obviously, we have a number of different solutions. I think the fact that we're using a Zoom meeting here, just because it's a webinar, makes sense. But I think we've all learned to rely on this type of technology a lot more since COVID. And I think that it's almost like a step in the right direction anyway, because nobody's printing as much paper anymore. It's helpful for the environment. It's going to cost people less money when they're obviously printing a lot of this, a lot less paper. So it's kind of helping everyone. But it also gives us that ability to collaborate digitally. So people have the ability now to work from home and to mark up drawings just using Bluebeam sessions or anything like that. It's opened a lot of doors to a lot of people who thought that they weren't capable of doing that. So it was almost, COVID almost gave us a kick in the right direction, if that makes sense, and kind of let us kind of realize, okay, just because we thought it couldn't be done before, it can be done, and we just kind of needed that little push. But obviously, I think one of the things that's in the slide here is challenges, and I think COVID was a challenge for everyone, and it's nice to see that everyone has kind of bounced back and responding well to that challenge, because obviously it's unprecedented what happened lately, but we're all getting through it. As I said before, the Solid Assist portal is there. You can call the number up here, or you can contact support at solidcad.ca, and you will have someone, frontline staff there to actually support your needs. So don't be afraid to contact us if you do need it. and obviously we have different bundles, service bundles, English and French. You can kind of see, if you take a look at our website as well, just solidcad.ca, you will be able to see a lot of this stuff. So I won't go into too much detail about it. I don't want to be wasting all your time. I just kind of wanted to let you know a lot of the stuff that we do, the different clients that we have, and we're very happy to have Fusiontek's Bluebeam clients as well, because obviously it's you're coming from a very good and customer orientated side with Fusiontek. So our company with Fusiontek. So I want to just welcome you to our company now, and just say that we will obviously always try to be as good as Laura and Joe were in providing everything you kind of needed in terms of Bluebeam and other services. So I suppose that's my contact detail there, just in case anyone needs to actually contact me. That's my email and my personal phone number. So don't be afraid to contact me for anything Bluebeam related or anything else, and I'll be happy to help you out. But yeah, that was the whole spiel about SolidCAD, Joe. I hope I didn't run on too long for you there.
No, it's good. I mean, it's amazingly diverse company with a lot of players. So there's a lot of strength there. So
yeah,
that's encouraging to hear. So then, with my question for you, Thomas, is this: Bluebeam's good. It's the best markup tool on the market. How could they have gotten any better in Revu 20? Like, is it possible to improve on perfection, or what? Tell me about Revu 20. What's going on?
A masterpiece is never finished,
Okay.
So yeah, you can never improve. There's no such thing as perfection. It's always going to be improved upon. You have to learn to stop somewhere. But the good thing about Bluebeam is I don't think they plan on stopping anytime soon, because they're so customer orientated. They listen to customer feedback, kind of say, okay, we need to make these changes here. Now, what I've heard is that Bluebeam are planning on making quarterly adjustments and updates. So they do have, that should be very good. So if people do have issues, make sure they contact Bluebeam or contact us. And we tend to have Bluebeam's ear a lot, so they tend to listen to us. If you say, hey, listen, customers are not happy with this aspect of things, could you maybe improve on it? And they usually say, yep, we will try and do that. And we are usually they're aware and they're actually already trying to fix an issue. Some of them, what I'll actually share my Bluebeam screen here. And can you see my screen okay there?
Nice, yeah.
And I will actually talk about some of the functions that Bluebeam has actually brought in, because some of them can be very useful. And the good thing about Bluebeam, as I said, is it's such a good software, but they improve where they obviously think people need improvement. So little things like, I think one of the first things that I will talk about is, obviously, I'm just going to draw in a quick text box here. So you can see I have my text box up there. I'm just going to draw it in. This is a text box. Okay. Oh, it's not an X box. It's a text box. But you see here, like even the fact that it just automatically adjusted to the font there, because I just typed it in, it automatically adjusted there. And you can see over in the properties over here, I say this font size is 5. What if I made it 10? A bit bigger. Now, and if I wanted, I also have the ability to obviously set this to auto so that it opens up.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So they actually fixed this, because before, when you actually did that, it tended to keep it as a straight line. So now it'll automatically fix the text into the size of the box. But what it also added was you can now add a leader line to a text box. Now I know you could do this previously with a call out, but you weren't able to do it with a text box.
Yeah.
And the other good thing is as well, when you actually add another leader line, you're not stuck to using the same point here. You can actually bring a leader over to the other side and actually have a point. So it's very useful. I think this is one of the things obviously people are asking, because they're saying, sometimes you have two pieces of equipment that obviously would have the same information. So we just want to be able to point to them. So you can kind of put in as many different leader lines as you want now. So that's a very useful thing that you can do. Another thing they've added is actually for studio. So obviously studio sessions and studio projects has become one of the most useful aspects of Bluebeam, because it gives us that ability to mark up drawings in the cloud in real time, and you can actually see how people are marking them up. So it's very easy to have like a Zoom meeting like this, but actually mark up the drawing at the same time. But the good thing about it is, if I actually sign out here, you can see that they've actually added a Australian cloud at the moment. Okay, now I know that that won't mean much for people right now in Northern America, but it does mean that they are working to create new cloud services for people and new places to save data. So I believe they will someday soon hopefully have a Canadian one. So if there are certain firms that you work with that are worried about saving data in a US server and want it to be in a Canadian server, we will have that ability. So just know that Bluebeam is constantly working on things like this, and they're always trying to improve. And you can see even the fact that they've added the Australian one, that they are improving on certain aspects. Now I'm just going to sign in here and make sure that, yeah, I remembered my password. That would have been awkward if I didn't. So you can see here that there's a couple of different projects I already have. I usually just open them up when I'm showing some demos and stuff. I'm just going to go to sessions here, but it actually made it easier when you're actually inviting people to a session, because if I come to add up here, I can go new session. Obviously I can join again, but it gives me the ability, I'm just going to add the open file here. Yes. Just going to save that so I don't lose any of the stuff I've added, and I'm just going to press OK. Oh, test. And I won't go through how to obviously put in like the expire the sessions of the session and stuff like that. Obviously, you can change that. I'm just going to restrict attendees by email access here. I'll uncheck this for now. Okay, but I'll give that a second while the session just opens up in the cloud there. And I just want to show you how they've actually made it easier to actually add in email addresses. So if I come up here, then I can just say attendee access. Obviously, I can still do it the same way. I can just kind of click on this, but it gives me 3 different options now. It kind of says, okay, I can type or paste emails. And now, obviously, we can get the emails from groups, and we can get the emails from the address book like we did before. But I just want to show you, so that's obviously the address book. If you have groups set up already, you can add them straight from there. You see, I kind of have a couple in here as well. But we do have the ability to type or paste in emails. And you can see you get a little box that pops up like this. And I'm just going to go to my Outlook for a second. I'm going to grab a lot of, maybe I can grab one that has a lot of different contacts here. I usually try and pick one as part of the Bluebeam team where we have a lot of different stuff. Give me 2 seconds here. So say if it's okay because these are all SolidCAD employees. So I'm going to add these in here. But I just copied a bunch of them. Oh. And you can see here, I just put in a couple from SolidCAD there, and you can see you can just drag them straight up from maybe an email or something like that. But when you check this button down here, it says check and include emails. And what it'll actually tell me then is it'll actually break it down and show you that there's 4 different email addresses there, and it tells me that there's 4 participants. And it also tells me that there's 1 domain. So it'll actually tell me straight away if these people are all from the same company or if they're from different companies. So that could be really useful as well. And then obviously after this is all done, I can like remove, delete out attendees or if I wanted. And I can also, and then finally I just click this blue button down here to invite those participants to the session. Okay. I wonder, Joe, should I don't think we need to actually set up a session right now, but if you want, I could set it up so you can join this particular session, but it's totally up to you. Yeah? Okay, well, let's just do that then. I'm just going to type in your email address here. It's just Joe. At Fusiontek.
Let's see if we get the.
Oh, my Outlook seems to be after jumping the gun here a bit.
You can just give me the session ID because
Yeah.
it's not restricted. So
My computer is actually after freezing for. Hold on. I'm just going to close my Outlook here. I think that's what the problem is. Go. Oh, okay. Close my Bluebeam there as well. Can you still see my screen okay there?
we got your smiling face there.
Perfect. Okay. It's not smiling right now. So I'm just going to open up that document one more time because it actually, my computer seemed to have a bit of an issue there. So I'm just going to open up that one of these. Go. So I'm just going to open up this again. Maybe I won't try that again. Maybe there was a bit of a, it doesn't like that where I'm live streaming my video here and trying to share a screen and then opening a session at the same time. So maybe we should just give that one a miss, Joe. I don't want my computer to kind of freeze up again. Okay, I think let's just see if the session should still be open there. We'll sign in again. Yeah, it's still open. I should be able to show the ID there in a second.
So yeah, one thing there's a new button here. I'll let you log in. It's a fantastic new button in studio sessions.
Yep, go ahead.
It's the not joined button. We can talk about that after. I just don't.
Oh yes. So yeah, I'm going to send you. So you can see that meeting ID up there, Joe.
Yeah.
224-553-915.
24. Sorry, what was the next digits? 553?
Sorry. Yes.
And then the last three digits was
915.
Perfect. Yeah, a lot of people haven't tried Bluebeam sessions, but they're really fantastic. So really, we're in the same document here.
Yes.
I mean, that's extraordinary. Am I able to just mark something up? May I just go ahead and do that?
So you make sure, double click on the markups list one. And that's the one I have open at the moment, and just make sure obviously you get there's a little screen that usually pops up here when you're actually in a session.
Yeah.
Because right now I have 3 documents in the session at the moment. But what I love about the session, I can see you're in there now, Joe. What I love about the session itself is the fact that you can leave a session open. So say if you gave a couple of people 3 days to actually work on the session, and you come back 3 days later, you can close it then. But people have been working in the background in those 3 days. So you can basically come back and this document can be reviewed by several different people, and then you can just close it off. And then obviously when you finish, it produces a report that actually allows you to see exactly what's been marked up and what has been said in the session, even if you haven't even attended it.
Nice.
So there you go.
It's just training my training days, teaching people how to do shop drawing stamps.
Yeah, it's one of the big questions. Yeah, Joe, you pointed out that there is a very good button here. So if you actually invited people to a session that haven't joined yet, you can actually see them over here. And yeah, I thought they would have made a bigger deal about this because it's very useful to kind of see, okay, well, nobody's joined this yet. Sometimes it used to just show actually who was in the session at the time. But I believe that if you actually look at it after someone's been there, it'll always tell you what, it'll come down here and say someone joined the session, someone left the session. But now you can actually see who has not joined the session yet.
Yeah, because some of those invitations tended to get lost in space. I don't know if you've heard that. Just in terms of people not knowing they were invited. So now you have the ability to remind people and know that they haven't joined. That's fantastic. The trick is not knowing what you know, it's knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I always thought I knew something, and then I learned more. So it's the same with every program I ever learned. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that, and then someone shows me something, and it just blows my mind. I'm like, oh, if only I knew that 2 years ago. So yeah, it's always good to kind of to learn new things anyway. Another actually new feature that I want to mention here as well is obviously down here in the filters list, because you actually have the ability now to save the filters. So I'm just going to click on the filters list down here, and you can see here that there's a couple of markups that I've created. There's a couple here that you can see that Joe's created, but I can obviously filter this out, okay, and I can filter it by, say, Joe's name, so I only see Joe's markups. But you can see here that it's actually, you can see that that stays there. It's highlights in blue, okay, and then I can come over here and I might say, okay, what else do I want to filter it by? Maybe I wanted to filter it by a certain date. Okay, so I come over here and I'd say past 2 days, past 7 days. Maybe I wanted to come in here and say, okay, I want to filter out by test, so I can only see this one. But the good thing about it is, if I actually click on the save filters in here, I can actually save this filter for a later time. So I might say Joe test filter. Save that. And now I have the ability to turn that off if I wanted. And that just comes back. And that, see, to filter this, it's just a normal, all the markups are now there in your markups list, but I can come back in and say, well, what do I need to look for? Well, I'm actually looking for the same things again. Maybe this time I want to see what Joe marked up and was in test in the comments. And I just go click here, click on the Joe filter, and you can see that the two filters are still there. Oh.
Yeah.
So, and another thing is the ability to, obviously people know that you can add custom markup columns in here. So what I tend to do is I usually have one custom column created where you create one and it's called like responsible or something like that. Obviously, I can't do it in a session. I need to do this in a regular document. But you have the ability to obviously add in new columns, and then you can use the filter list to actually customize that to know exactly what you're looking for. So if I was to use that filter to save it for something else, then I have the ability to actually use it at a later date, so I know exactly what I'm looking for the next time. Okay. Do you have anything to add on that one, Joe?
No, it's a small thing. It looks like a small thing, but it's a huge value.
Yes. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. The not join feature. Yeah, it's really helping. It's just helping collaboration
Yes.
be easier. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Another thing actually that I should mention as well, I'm just going to go back to my regular markups list here, so not in the session, is when we have the ability to obviously export the markups list out to Excel file or anything like that, but you also now have the ability, see this, that you can include the replies. So if obviously you make a comment and someone replies to that comment, you can actually turn that on and off. So if you want to see the reply now in the summary, it actually tells you that. So, you know, if you say something like, hey, why haven't you fixed this yet? And someone says, hey, I've already fixed it. Look it up, blah, 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 blah. You know, you can see that. So you can always see, okay, well, this is obviously after been resolved. Now, obviously, what I tend to do is when I'm actually creating a column, I might create a couple of, you know, custom ones here. I might one I usually create is something responsible, yeah, I think that's right. And I'd put it in here. I might bring it up to the top then, just underneath. I'll bring this all the way up to here. So obviously, the further up in the list it is, the more to the left in the markups list it is. So I want to have this one maybe somewhere right between after the date or something. So I'll move it up one more. And you can see here I have responsible. So I might say, okay, Joe says, please review. I might come down to my markups list down here then and say, okay, who's responsible for reviewing it? And I might say, okay, Thomas is responsible. And then I can do the same then with the next comment, obviously. And then obviously I can use the filter list then to say, okay, which ones are responsible for Thomas? That's me. And I say, okay, so I filter out this one. And then the next time I want to see all the things that are responsible for Thomas, I can either just come straight into the filter list, or I can just go in and save this new filter as Thomas response and save that for the next time. So obviously, and you can kind of go forward and back between the different ones. But I just found it's such a small feature, but I find it so useful, especially if you want to review something very quickly or find comments or markups that are specifically for you or somebody else. So I think that if you use it in conjunction with the creating custom columns, I think it can be so useful. One of the things that I used to always make sure to tell people was when you're actually in a session was obviously to change your status. If you're finished reviewing a drawing, make sure you come up to finished, reviewing, waiting for somebody else. You can also customize your status in the session. But what sometimes people will do is if they just want to save a document someplace else, maybe if they have it on their server or something like that, they can also create in a custom column in here. You can see that there's a status one here, but you can also create in a custom column that says if you're finished reviewing, if it's complete, if it requires another review, you can change that in the markups list. So again, it can just be another custom column that you can add. Now I'm just thinking now, what else has been? Oh yes, there is actually a search.
Where's Waldo button?
Yes, so this is actually obviously very useful. So what I always find weird is sometimes one of the tools that I find really useful is obviously for working out areas is over here. Sometimes it's hidden. It's kind of hard to kind of see it there at the moment, but you have the ability to use the fill command button over here. So our what's it called again? Dynamic fill. So you can come up here then, if you can't really find it in your thing, maybe you haven't adjusted your profile so everything is kind of all over the place, maybe you're using someone else's profile, you can just come up here and say, okay, what am I looking for? Well, I want my dynamic fill. And I literally just had to type in DY. It was the first thing that popped up. I thought there would have been more. Obviously, I could type in D here. I get a list of all the stuff here. But DY is my dynamic fill. And you can see it pops up. I'll close it again. Search. Dynamic fill. So people that are not kind of used to the program do have that ability to just find these particular tools without much effort, and you just click on them then, and you see dynamic fill will open up without having to go over here, click the button, or if you don't remember the shortcut to obviously just to get that. I think the shortcut is like DY or anyway, but same with like a text box. If you want to find out, okay, where's it? How do I find my text box? Well, I can just type in text box.
That's awesome. There's one new feature you forgot, which is something you can add to the measurement tools, which is just so beautiful.
The line styles. Yeah. You want? Yes. Yeah. So where is that one again? So say I'm up here. I think you do have the ability. I'm just going to go to my measurement tools over here. I'm just going to put in a quick polyline here, or poly length, sorry. And so I was going to type this in. So I click on this. So obviously the poly length, I haven't calibrated this drawing. 200. I'm actually going to go to this one over here because I know for sure that this one has a custom dimension here. So I'm just going to calibrate this drawing here. Measure, calibrate. Obviously, if you don't know it, if you press shift, that will actually hold it at a 45-degree angles. So I always tend to use shift whenever I'm calibrating a drawing to make sure that I'm drawing a straight line. So here, this one, document session is an embedded scale. I thought it was in the other session there. Let's try that one again. Calibrate this drawing in here. Obviously, if you calibrate it before you go into a session, that's better because you can kind of it already sets it in the session, and you can quickly mark it up. And I'm just going to calibrate it in here. 1, 2, 3, and I know that this one is inches. Okay. And where were we, Joe? What was I talking about there? Oh, yeah, polyline. So I'm just going to draw in a quick polyline here. Poly length. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just poly length. And you have the ability then to adjust this poly length. Oops. There we go. Sorry, I had my filter on there.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm just going to click on that poly length there. And if we move back to our properties, you can see here that we can adjust these poly length properties. And you can add stuff like, say if you wanted to add in a custom label here. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to change the line style here. So these ones are actually advanced. Okay, so you can see here that we have like solid line and -1, -2, -3, all that stuff is there. But down here you can see we have, like, say if I wanted to use this hot water one. Okay, so that one, you can see here there's a little hot water line is coming in instead of this.
Yeah, they're
okay,
adorable.
say if I want, yeah. What else is there? So we have the fence line square. We have, you can also create, I believe you can bring in your own styles as well, if I remember correctly. If that's what they said in the new features as well, you do have the ability to import different line styles. I haven't actually done that myself yet. And I'm pretty sure we have the ability to do other things as well, because I could have sworn we had the ability to add in different options down here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna include the label here. Maybe I'll turn off the label. But obviously the good thing is as well is if you have a custom label that you've created. So say if I have a label up here, maybe I wanted to say this was a hot water line. And I say, okay, so I'm going to edit this caption. I'm going to make sure to include the label. And you can see here the hot water pops up.
Nice.
So that was one of the things that was there. You do have the ability, I believe, to turn off the individual lines as well, if you wanted. So it just shows the overall one. I actually forgot how to do that one. But you do have that ability. Yeah, I'm trying to think now if I'm not forgetting anything else, Joe, please let me know.
No, I mean, all of these are, you know, it's a lot of little things, but they can make a big impact. Even this feature, you know, how much value does it have? Well, for people that are communicating visually, your measurement now can show the line type of what you're measuring. And to some people that it can be a really big deal. Not to always have to rely on the metadata or the properties down there below, but to better visually show those measurements. That's important.
Yes, it is. You're right. And, you know, as I said before, even though Bluebeam are improving on these little things, it means that they're kind of listening to the little things. So they know, okay, you know, people, it's only when you kind of talk to the kind of users that are using the program, that's actually when you figure out these little things. Because there's so many times that the tiniest things are the things that drive you absolutely crazy. And I know that from experience. So it's nice that kind of they're improving on things like this. I'm sure hopefully going forward, they're going to keep listening to clients' feedback. I think they had a lot of feedback from like Revu 2018, 2019, and they've actually improved on a lot of that stuff. Like they've improved on the rendering aspect. It doesn't take as long to open up Bluebeam anymore. You know, things like this these are the feedback that I love hearing about, because it means that people are using Bluebeam. And one of the things I've heard when I was first learning Bluebeam, I think like 2 years ago, was 80% of Bluebeam users are only using 20% of the program. So when I start hearing about these little itty bitty problems that people are having, that means that they're starting to explore the program more and they're starting to use it correctly. And, you know, you're paying for a program, so you should be able to use as much of it as possible. I know they say we only use like 10% of our brain, But that when we've created a software as useful as Bluebeam, we should be kind of using 100% of it if we need it. So I think people just forget that there's so many different functionalities that you can use Bluebeam for, and I'm glad to hear the feedback like this because it means that people are using those different functionalities.
Yeah, one of the highest return on investments is just taking 2 hours or 4 hours and getting some training on Bluebeam. You probably get that money back within a couple weeks or a month in many cases. I've never seen a return on investment better than that.
Yes.
But that all looks amazing. Thanks for showing us some of the new stuff in 20. I guess I'm just wondering if anyone has any questions. Not that we need questions, but if someone certainly had a question that they wanted to ask in terms of the transition to SolidCAD or something about 20 or something about an upgrade, we'll certainly feel free to ask that in the Q&A portion, if that's okay with you, Thomas.
Yeah, that's fine by me. And one of the things I will say is I'm glad we're recording this session, because a lot of the time sometimes I try to get people on the phone. Sometimes I got people's voicemails or I had to leave a message. But I followed most calls up with an email. But sometimes when you get an email from someone you don't know and they're basically saying, hey, we need you to transfer over your information to somebody, they don't know me from Adam, so it almost sounds like a scam in a way. So I'm glad that, it's good to have you and me talking together. So can people realize, we're on the level. This is not applied to get like Bluebeam licenses or something like that from Fusiontek. That, we're working as part of a team. And I think that's it. When the good thing about working as part of a team, you always have more people to turn to. Like I came from small businesses in Ireland, small architectural firms, and you're always kind of, the more people that are part of the team, the easier everything was to get done, because you were able to turn to the person next to you and say, hey, listen, how do you do this? Even if they say, well, I don't know, but this person knows. And that's what it's all about. It's all about collaboration. It's all about working together. So, yeah. So if anyone does have any questions, don't be afraid to say anything. If not, I think I will, like as I said, what I will probably do is we'll save this recording. I'll probably include it in a link for anyone that has some qualms or any questions about the acquisition, and make sure that Joe is on board, and make sure that everyone kind of knows what's happening. Because as I said, in the conversations I have had with people, they always kind of want to make sure oh, how's Joe? Because you're very good. You're a very good reseller, and you're always there for when they had their Bluebeam needs. So it was great to kind of hear that, and it's nice. I suppose it's nice for you to hear it as well, Joe, because you realize how good you are at your job. So now happy people were to work with you. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Thomas, and yeah, thanks for this talk today, and I appreciate all your positive comments, and we look forward to working with you down into the future.
Yes, I look forward to it too. I think that's it for. Nobody seems to have any questions. As I said, I better just pop my. If anyone does need to contact me, don't be afraid. That's my email. That's my phone number, and I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has. And again, Joe, I want to thank you for being part of the webinar and co-hosting with me. And I appreciate your time. And again, everyone, welcome to SolidCAD, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Goodbye.
Thanks, Joe. Bye.